Hey friends, Kevin Gehring here, your Sacramento, Stockton area realtor and lender, here with this week's weekly real estate report. Well, let me take you right over to the chart right here. I don't have any kittens or anything this week to show you. So let's just talk some business. And I want to talk about this green line here, which is always my point of interest right away. I always want to, that seems to be driving everything. And what we got is unfortunately a small drop off in the inventory this week. Now, what I'm expecting to see, if you go back through history, what we should be seeing right now is this very, very steep climb. If we look back over here, back last year, the year before, this is normal. This very steep climb that we have here, we're not seeing that. It's still kind of leveling off or floundering right down there. Forgive the aviation reference, but it's just like an aircraft trying to take off in the heat with not enough power at high altitude. It's gotten off the ground, but it's not gaining any altitude. And that's not really a good thing for a normal market. In fact, we should see this very steep climb all the way through till about the end of July, middle of August. And we're just not seeing that. Now, the good news is it's going up. At least we have something going on there, right? So it's going up. But, if we look over here at the pending sales, look at this steep climb. That's kind of a normal climb. But, and like I keep saying all the time, that's just driving this supply and demand. It's driving the prices up like crazy. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But if we look at the spread, and I'm always interested in the spread here, we're really back on a spread that is back to kind of setting a new record here. It's something like, it's 2,488 right now, where the worst we ever saw was about 4 weeks ago at 2,569. So the spread between just a few weeks ago and the spread today, it's just not getting any better. In fact, it's gotten a little bit worse today than it was the last 2 days. So spread is there. But let's take a look at this yellow line. And take a moment to appreciate what's happening here. So if we go back a year ago, we're looking at home values were around 405, 407,000 here. See if I can get that to pop up. So there we go, 407,000. And if we take a look at where we have gone, now keep in mind, it was a gradual slow right until about February of this year. And then it just really took off. We were at 545,000 as a median price. So you figure, if that's a spread of $138,000 that the average homeowner has realized over the last year. Now, that is fantastic news, of course, if you own a home, but let's talk about what is happening with the homes out there where people have equity. Well, and that's all of us, really. So what do a lot of people, what do they do when they have equity? Well, as a lender, I start to see more and more cash out refis. And, some of that cash out refi goes to clear off credit card debt or pay off student loans or home improvements. But still, a lot more of that money is going into luxury items, RVs, boats, I won't say airplanes, and things like that, right? So, regardless of what it is, furniture, everything, that is causing prices to go up on everything. So we're seeing a lot of inflation happening right now. That's a whole nother show here if you want to talk money and inflation. But, just be on the lookout. That's what is happening. So a lot of people ask, what do we do with this equity, Kevin? Do you think it's a good idea to take money out and do something with it? Well, I want to say very carefully, it really depends upon your situation. For the most part, I do not recommend tapping into your equity for a lot of reasons. One, and again, I know this from, I'm going to be honest with you, personal experience, is that people who tend to overuse credit and get out of debt easily tend to repeat that. So I've always said that, a lot of people say it takes a long time to get out of debt. You can't get out instantly what it took you a long time to get into. It takes a while to get into debt, it takes a long time to get out. And if you have pain associated with getting out of that debt, in other words, you sacrifice, you make the payments that happen slowly, get out of debt, historically speaking, statistically speaking, people who do that tend to stay out of debt. All right. And to be honest with you, I've done this a long time now. People who who get into debt, use their equity to get out, often tend to get back into trouble. So I just want to caution you what human nature is, and be careful. If that's your situation and you want to refinance to get out of debt, do it. Just be careful. Don't get back in. All right. Refinancing for student debt, things like that. Well, my current advice is be careful, because with the current administration, I think that we're likely to see student loan forgiveness. So you don't want to pay off something that might be forgiven anyway. I know that's very controversial, but from your personal financial standpoint, that's the advice I would give. And certainly taking cash out to buy cars or things like that, you're talking about usually 15 or 30-year loans to pay off something that you should be paying off in 3 to 5 years anyway. So again, not the best move. So hopefully you find that a little bit helpful. Let's talk about rates real quick. What's going on with rates? Now, we have to keep this in context. Rates did go up a little bit this week. So Freddie Mac is reporting that rates are now 3%. Oh my gosh, they've just gotten so high, haven't they? 3% with 0.6 of a point up front, 0.6 of a point up front. That's up from 2.94. Now, for a lot of us, we've become so accustomed to this 2%, 3% range. But remember that is really low. It is, you hear this all the time, historically low. It really is historically low when you figure the average rate. If you look over time, or you talk to some people and they talk about, when they bought their first house and it was 12%, 13%, 16%. You're talking about putting a house on a credit card at some of these rates. All right. And then we settled in and it was around the 6% for a very long time, 4s, 5s, 6%. And that was very, very normal. And then we've got into this exceptionally low. So I say that to say that 3% is still a fantastic rate. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's helping to fuel the yellow line that is just taking off, right? Because people have more buying power, so they are out there buying. Now, interestingly, I've secretly, one of the statistics that I keep that I don't really share because nothing has really happened with it is what is the average square foot of a home sold? And I started this many years ago thinking that, well, perhaps as money got cheaper, people would buy bigger homes. Or as prices got higher like they are now, people would buy smaller homes. But interestingly enough, the average square foot of a home sold is always right about 1,900 square feet. A little less, a little more sometimes, but 18 to 1,900 square feet. It has never changed since I started keeping statistics all these many years ago. I'm scrolling through them all. It's 1,800 is the number, 18 something, always, all the time. So interesting. Anyway, hey, that's it for this week. I hope you guys have a great weekend. It's supposed to be a little bit windy tomorrow. So batten down the hatches, and I'll see you here next week. Take care. Bye.